I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty much the same chapter we got last week. I mean, there wasn't anything particularly new or interesting about this chapter. It was just kind of, bleh, same stuff we've been seeing for the past however long. The whole try to kill Obito plot being played out again and again and again. It's getting kind of annoying now. But the chapter, there were some redeeming qualities in the chapter. We saw basically the return of the tug of war, the chakra tug of war, and then we saw one of my favorite scenes again. Even though that part that kind of annoyed me, that they actually re-showed the same scene from last week's chapter of Obito, imagining what would have happened if he had never left the Hidden Leaf Village. I mean, it was so nice the way they did it last week's chapter, and then the way when they brought it back in this week's chapter, it kind of felt a bit stale to me. Yeah, it was cool to see again, but at the same time, I think they did it really well last week, and then they showed it again kind of made me feel like, I mean, come on now, you keep hitting us with the same stuff, the same symbolism, the same themes. I mean, stop, man. We get it already. Naruto's a hero, Obito's a villain. They were the same guy. They're the same. We get it. Just kill him already and move on with the story. I mean, it's getting really annoying now. I mean, maybe Kishi's just trying his hardest to make us feel something for Obito before he actually dies, or maybe this is just his way of redeeming Obito, because maybe Obito is going to do something later on to help the whole ninja world, basically. Maybe Naruto's going to eventually change him, because this has been Naruto's thing from kind of the beginning. He has a way of changing people. I mean, for God's sake, Pain pretty much destroyed the Hidden Leaf, and he changed Pain's perspective on life and the ninja world, everything. Pain pretty much became a good guy by the end of their fight. So maybe the same thing might happen now. Honestly, I was kind of hoping they would kill Obito, but now I'm more thinking that, okay, Obito's probably going to die, but it won't be by Naruto's hands. It might be by Madara's hands or some other force of some sort, because Naruto seems to be trying to convert Obito right now, based on what happened at the end of this chapter, with him saying, I know your name is Obito Uchiha, basically. You are my father's pupil, you're my sensei's best friend, you're my, I guess, best friend's family member, relative, the Uchiha clan, Sasuke, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So Naruto's basically saying, if you didn't become who you were right now, I mean, I would have definitely looked up to you, because we have the same dreams and goals in life. And yeah, we already knew that. And Kishi seems to be just nailing us with these themes and stuff. So I'm guessing Obito's probably gonna convert, maybe, and that'll be kind of lame. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know. And right now, I honestly don't care anymore. I just wanted just to see the conclusion of Obito's story, basically. I mean, if he goes good, so be it. It's Kishi's story. He can do whatever the hell he wants with it. If he goes bad and dies bad, then whatever. That's something that we kind of all expected. But with the way things are shaping up right now, I doubt he's gonna die a bad guy. He's probably gonna get some redemption somehow. Maybe he's gonna be like, oh, I've recognized the error of my ways. Forgive me, Kakashi. Forgive me, Rin. Forgive me, Sensei. Then dies. Or maybe he does some self-sacrificing thing where Madara is gonna complete the Moon's Eye plan, and Obito is gonna sacrifice himself, killing both Madara and thus saving the ninja world in the process. Maybe he's gonna be the savior of some sort. I mean, right now, the way they keep, showing flashbacks of what ifs, showing, subtle, you see subtle panels. I mean, that especially, I mean, one of the best panels, well, a couple of panels that I really thought were, they stood out to me in this chapter, was the panel where we see, Naruto, and we see all of his comrades behind him. Funny little thing, see Tsuchikage flying, but anyway, he'd probably be too short to see him anyway. But obviously, all of Naruto's friends behind him, and then Obito, he recognized that. Then he looked behind. Then he basically looks back, and then there's no one behind him. So basically, he has no support, no friends, nothing to rely on, basically. And then he kind of sees, that Naruto's fine with everybody, whereas he's basically just fighting a lone battle. And you can see where he's just seeing where all of Naruto's strength's coming from, and he kind of and he actually, not kind of, he does envy him. I mean, on a subconscious level he does, because he's still denying that I no longer care about that past, basically. I was too naive. But I mean, he's still thinking that, oh, I want that, I wish that was me, basically. And then, you know, we get the same flashback we saw last week again of him, you know, being the Hokage back in the Hidden Leaf Village, and then we see an extra little scene with like Naruto, Sasuke, you know, like an alternate timeline. I'm gonna, you know, get into that a little bit more. Alternate timeline of like, you know, what would have happened if the fourth didn't get slaughtered by, you know, him, and Naruto actually grew up with both his parents, you know, Sasuke. I'm guessing in this timeline the Uchiha clan didn't commit the betrayal, basically. They were still alive, and obviously that's because Obito would have been the Hokage, so he would have, you know, squashed any rebellion, you know, flat. Like, listen, Uchiha clan are part of the village, and I guess the Uchiha would be proud that, you know, the Hokage is a member of the Uchiha clan, so they would have no reason to want to betray the village, because they have, I mean, they have someone in the government. I mean, they have someone from the Uchiha clan up there in the higher ranks, basically, so they wouldn't feel oppressed, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's like the happy ending timeline, basically. I mean, everyone lives happily ever after in that timeline. It would be kind of nice to see, like how we saw that filler with Naruto. It goes back in some alternate timeline where his mom and dad are still alive and Sakura's parents are dead. Maybe we see like yeah, something similar where we see what would happen if Obito actually did become Hokage. You know, how would the village? I mean, what kind of what would the village even be like? Who would be dead? Who would be alive? Basically, I'm interested in seeing that. That's what I'm basically trying to say. So yeah, I mean, the chapter was basically Naruto. You know, that slash basically did not kill Obito. All it did was trigger a chakra tug of war, basically. So Naruto is, you know, pulling the chakra. Everyone jumps to help him pull the chakra. He couldn't pull the Eight Tails or Shikaku's chakra because he didn't make a connection with them or have it inside of him, I guess. So, you know, that's why Killer Bee and Garo come in, and then they actually start pulling the chakra to help him out as well. It's just basically the whole Ninja Alliance backing Naruto up, doing that chakra tug of war to try and pull all the tailed beast outside of Obito, thus, you know, leaving Obito with an empty shell, basically, and obviously, you know, severely weakening him. I mean, he's not going to be in God mode anymore after this, basically, and they will succeed in this. Trust me, they will succeed, unless Madara comes out of nowhere and just eats it all up or absorbs all the fucking tail beast, and then he becomes the new Ten Tails Jinchuriki again, and then thus restarting the cycle of trying to kill this guy before he takes over the world. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot to say about the chapter, but that's because I just rambled on a lot. I mean, it was just a setup chapter. I mean, that's all it was for next week, just a setup chapter. And I keep saying I hope he dies next chapter, but I know that he's not going to die for a long time. He's actually going to survive this tail beast extraction and then Senju DNA, you know. I mean, obviously, the usual things that, you know, Jinchurikis die when the tail beasts get extracted. Senju DNA, so obviously Obito is going to survive, and he's probably going to sacrifice himself to save the ninja world in active redemption somehow. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that chapter. If you think differently, or if you agree with me, you know, let me know in the comments below, and obviously subscribe for more videos and stay tuned.